amazing teams creating products in the world of fashion, in the world of entertainment, in the world of finance, and all doing so with things on desktop, Android, iOS, and everywhere else. And the most amazing thing about those products that I've gotten to work on is that they've been with amazing people who have brought unique things, different perspectives, different challenges to every product that I've had the chance to work with. So I thought before we got started, it would really help us understand who you are. So much like any team, we can understand how we can work best together. So how many people here are developers? So like 99% of you are developers. Alright, who here is a designer? Awesome, great. Anyone here in user experience? Both user experience and design, they go together. User experience is kind of part of everything. Anyone here in like product management or product management? Okay, good. And anyone here a founder? Okay, cool, good. A mix of everything, a lot of developers, it's all good. So, the best way to get started in this, as I look to you guys, we're kind of working in all different aspects of the world of product creation, is in your mind, I want to ask you, what is collaboration? What is the one word? You think of it? Anyone? Raise your hands. Give me something. Anyone? No one has a word for collaboration? That's really hard. Yeah. Communication to improve the product. Great. That's not really one word, but yeah, it's a good job. Yeah. Diversify resources? Totally. It's very hard for collaboration. Anyone else? Any other? Yes, Steve. Creation? Sure, absolutely. That. Compromise. That's a great word, compromise. It's hard, that's a hard word too, right? Compromise is one of the hardest things we do, all of us do every day. Any other words that we think of? Yeah. Cooperate. Totally opposite of compromise. Those are a little bit different. Yeah, that's a good, yeah, totally. Should have been. That's totally true. Yeah. Improving. Totally. These are all great words to describe what collaboration is all about. A few other words I love, brainstorming, knowledge sharing, working together, sharing goals. Those are all different ways of saying the things that we've already said here. But when it comes down to it, when you think about all the different things that we've just said, we've got to check out some things I think put down. Collaboration, no matter what role you play, developer, founder, designer, user experience, whatever it is, it all comes down to listening. Because if you can't listen, you can't collaborate, you can't compromise, you can't work together. There's nothing worse than trying to work with someone who has blinders on, only sees their own vision, because they don't want to listen to whatever perspective you bring. Let me tell you something. As someone who's I work in user experience and design, I work with developers all the time. And I look at myself as a developer. Like I'm 100% non-developer. Back in my early days in the web, I had the experience of thinking I knew what I was doing, making a development, and hacking together things using terrible access databases and PHP and SQL. And I really had no idea what I was doing, but it was embarrassing. And I looked at developers now, and I'm like, developers bring so much more to the table. Than I do to that, and I think if a team brings things to the table, the developers don't bring them. We work together to create great products. But the art of great product design and collaboration has not just existed solely in the bubble of the world of tech. It's something that has existed for years in all walks of life. And that's the amazing thing, that the best things out there, the best products, experiences out there that exist have come from not just one person, but from 1 plus X. Think about it like, I think Charles Darwin talks about it back hundreds of years ago, right? It exists in comedy, happening and selling. It exists in science with the Wright brothers, in music with the Beatles, in basketball, sports with the Dream Team, and those guys that I really watched this in I think it was like 92, they're in the Olympics, and these people worked together to dominate. They were all of their right egos of their own. They all were the best in their field. They worked together to create an amazing team. Ben and Jerry created some of the best ice cream in the world. This is the space station, Expedition 24, to the International Space Station. Google. Some of you may be familiar with those brands. And the first part of collaboration, when it comes down to it, is the team. And I think about the team a lot because my team that I bring to the table is only part of the team, right? When I work with startups, their team, they have to create their team from scratch where we never work together. I think the team also doing sports. Phil Jackson's in coach the Knicks, and you know, there is so much that people can bring to a team. And so much dominance you can bring if you're really good at what you do. But the best team members, the best people I've ever worked with, the people you have ever worked with, are people who let their expertise take a little bit back seat sometimes to see what else is out there. Now, right now, there's a bit of a trend in the world of digital. When you go to job boards, or you apply for a new position at a startup, or even at a big corporation. And everyone's looking for the same thing. And in my mind, that thing does not exist. Collaboration is not unicorns. Unicorns do not exist. Much like they don't exist in the tech world. You might think, well, I can do UX, I can do design, I can program. But can you do all three of those things really well? Most likely, no. Collaboration is not also ninjas. I get applications since my company. I don't know if you guys have had this experience as founders or hiring developers or working with developers. We're like, I'm a ninja, man. I can do everything. And it's kind of embarrassing to hear someone say that. It's kind of, it makes our industry, I think, look worse because we're not jacks of all trades. We're people who have very warm specialties. We're all good at many different things. And we should embrace those things, not try to do everything, and be able to listen. I recently spoke to a founder who were looking to work with us, and they were looking for people. And he was talking to me about how he as a startup, he couldn't afford to hire a designer and a developer and a UX person and a product manager. And I was like, the cool thing is, you're a startup, you're bootstrapping, that's really hard to do. He's like, what I think he was finding a college kid who just knows how to do everything. And I was like, you can do that, and it'll be okay. But whatever you bring, he brings, or she brings to the team, that's not going to be as good as people that work in this and understand how to build a great product on the development side, understand how to build a great product on the design side, who can complement each other and help each other and challenge each other on things. It's like, yeah, man, I just needed a rock star to make this work. Needless to say that we did not end up working together. And it's a shame because I think that there's a lot that can be said for just a little bit of insight from people who've done things. Now, I'm talking at you right now, and that's not very collaborative. So feel free throughout this whole conversation to let me know if you have questions. Agree with me, disagree with me, please disagree with me. I'd love to have that collaborative conversation about, well, I could be wrong, because I could be wrong about some of these things. I often am wrong about things. But I really believe that collaboration is one of a team. Everyone understands the place they play. You're Yankees fans, Red Sox fans, don't care about baseball. You can't argue about the fact that people who work together win championships. The same is true of technology. You have marketers, you have business development, quality assurance, developers, user experience, visual designers, product managers, everyone together. And I love watching teams come together and work together again and again and again because it really does help. Now, that being said, there is some issues at the fact that you might be a developer for a lot of user experience designers, a lot of visual designers, and you have a perspective based on that experience that makes you valuable. So it's important that when you come in, that you are allowed to bring that information to the table, but also allowed to have your role defined and you're responsible for it. One of the things that often happens is people look at someone as the expert. I'll give you an example of this. I recently launched a product in this kind of smart device world. And we worked with this client for about a year. So we had to build the hardware, the software, and everything. And the launch was very successful. It worked really well. It launched at CES. The client calls us back and they're like, we really want to work with you guys again. We have a 11-person team. He's like, but I only want this person, my business project, right? So I want Chris, who runs video design, working on this. I don't want anyone else on the project. That guy has to do it. And we're like, do you understand that the reason why this worked is because Chris, who's an amazing designer, was able to work with us and with his team and with a bunch of people to make his work better. And what I think what that was really not understanding is that there's a different expertise that people bring to the team. And what makes a great product is understanding what you're good at, what you're good at, Another building story is I recently was working on a project in the financial industry. I'm not an expert in the financial industry, happy with that. And what I have done is had the luxury of doing a lot of research and understanding people who work in the industry, what they want, what they need. And our client is by far way better at financial recipes and items. And we got these conversations about how to design a great product that's like kind of private, kind of .com for investors, for more investors out here. And they kept saying to us, we want it to look more like a Bloomberg. What do you think of the Bloomberg terminal? Which is like very good black background with orange and green, horrible looking interfaces that kind of hurt your eyes all the time. And we're like, why do you want that? What is it that you're looking for to get from that? And they said, well, we want them to feel familiar with what these already. And I was like, well, in the world, I have done a study where people actually are sick of that and really want to feel like they're using the internet and the way they use the internet anywhere else. They use Google, they use Facebook, they use, Amazon, whatever it might be, whatever it designs, but they're familiar. And like, no, we have to make it extra busy because of what they're used to. I said, you guys understand the information that we're bringing forward. We have to understand that we have the pleasure and the privilege of having understood these users that we're doing. And instead of leveraging that, they really kind of rejected it in the end and walked away, which is probably a good thing they did, because it was a bad partnership, it was a bad experience of collaboration. A better experience of collaboration would come with like Hulu. Hulu was really a terrible project in a lot of ways, because the first half of it was about TV people and internet people clashing for 4 months. We spent months and months and months listening to terrible ideas from TV executives who didn't understand how to use the internet. And finally, Jason Willard, who came in as the CEO, kind of came in and listened and fired everyone and shrunk the team down to 4 people, thinking about expertise. He kept it down to himself, who was understanding the business world of things. And Eric Fang, who was the CTO, having built a video site called GD of China. And then he had myself and my old friend Kevin coming in on the visual design part of the investment. And what's amazing about that is that we would sit around, we rebuilt the entire site in 6 weeks before launch. And we sit around and we listen to it, and we fight. It wasn't fights that were bad, there were fights about things about how to make this product great. And my favorite example of this is sitting there every day understanding kind of how we're doing things. Eric Fang, the CTO, was just trying to check off the list of things that had to be done. He said, okay, so, just like 2007, okay, so what if someone wants to find a show that we don't have? And Hulu's launch was just NBC and Fox, so what if they had, what if they were lost, right? That was on ABC. And we all kind of looked around and we were like, I don't know. If someone in the room, I forget who it was, honestly, and said, well, if we were lost, we don't have lost, we'll just show them shows that are like lost, we'll be like other sci-fi shows. And we're all like, well, that's kind of shitty, right? Who wants to, if you want to watch Lost, you can watch Lost. And someone else in the room kind of said, well, what if we just said, we don't have Lost, so if you want to go watch it, you can go watch it at abc.com. We all kind of sat there for a second, and all the kind of suits were on the room, just the 4 of us. We're like, well, that would be a great experience. That seems like the right thing to do. And then the next thing we're watching on TV, they'll come to Hulu, and we'll have whatever it is they want. We'll just take the extra from that. And sure enough, we launched with that. And I think that would never come about if we weren't listening to each other. If we had just done whatever one person said and hadn't challenged everyone because we really believed and wanted to make a great product. What that came down to was, it wasn't Jason saying, and it wasn't us saying, well, you X, Y, normally you just do this. It was sitting there and listening and having a conversation and creating something great and getting rid of our egos. Egos are the things things that crumble great products, or the potential of great products. One of the reasons I left the advertising world years ago was because I couldn't stand the amount of egos of people who were above me. Not that I have a problem with authority, but it was because they wouldn't listen to new ideas and new experiences and new mediums that they had to work with. I was recently talking to a friend of mine who runs social media for a company, and I've listened for a long time, a naysayer and not a believer in social media as a way of the part of the product, and I was wrong about that. And the reason I was wrong is that the product extends beyond just the people using every touch point of that product. It's a part of that experience. If I'm using, I guess the new Foursquare, for example, and I swore on it Foursquare, like everything about that is either a good experience or a bad experience, but it's going to give me an opinion of that, right? So she was having this argument with her creative director about some campaign they were doing on Instagram, which might seem trivial, right? But it was important to her brand. And the argument was this, that they were doing, the client was America. They were trying to promote America to outside America, Chinese and Japanese tourists. And they were taking road trips around the country and taking pictures of food and landmarks and posting them on Instagram. And the creative director of this old school advertising people came back and said, you can't post these pictures up there, they're not professional, that someone just took them with their phone and posted them on Instagram. And she was like, well, yeah, they have a ton of engagement. Creators said, no, you have to stage this design, you make it look really beautiful. And so they like took it over and kind of doctored all of those, posted them on Instagram. Sure enough, all the engagement went down. And the data showed that I was right. And it didn't matter because these creators couldn't get out of their head, couldn't listen and understand that life has changed. People want to experience things in different mediums in different ways. Instead, they changed that by just keeping their egos higher and higher and higher and not being willing to fly. But once you do check your ego at the door, the next thing you want to do is establish clear goals for everything you're doing. Ensure the team understands them. Making sure that we're all on the same page. When we work on projects that we do, we bring in a development team, a product team, and from day one, everyone works together. There's not a single part of that team that doesn't understand what we're building. Because if they don't know what we're doing, then we're going to handle a stack of designs or wireframes that they'll be like, what is this? So this is going to take an extra 6 months to build. As opposed to saying, this is exactly what we expected, we're giving feedback during that process to tell us, you know what, this is a great idea, but maybe you want to hold off because this will add more success to development. So let's change this now in wireframe. We can take 5 minutes to do it as opposed to hours or weeks or days. And sometimes that's hard. There has to be someone who's establishing those rules, who's there to have that conversation and compare things back. But if you listen to your team, you're able to do that together. The other great thing about this is the idea of having everyone involved from day one. And I don't know, have you guys had this experience where it goes through this waterfall process of UX to design, development, and have that experience? You have? No, you haven't been. So it's actually good to hear that a lot of what I've had with collaborative experiences, people kind of working together from day one. You have? No? Okay. It's great. Because you never know what great ideas are going to come from. A lot of people say to me, well, we don't want to waste the time of our developers by having them design things. But let me tell you something. The best thing about having developers in a design meeting is that great ideas can come from anywhere. And you never know what's going to be. I'm going to be like, this is the way I'm going to do something. And I'm thinking about the I'm going to do this way. And I love that come back to me, this happens all the time, we tried this system before, and it actually didn't work. But if you do it this way, it's even better. And I certainly would rather hear that now and make myself smarter at my job than be like, no, you have to take this and do it my way, and you know it's wrong. You never know how someone can contribute to a project like that. The only thing about this is that you have to be willing to challenge ideas to create better results. One of the things that, so we do a lot in fashion. Fashion is definitely one of the more antiquated businesses that we work in. And one of the things we find is that fashion is very much around also for ego. And meeting with a very well-known fashion designer who wanted her site, which already had like e-commerce aspects to it, but was fairly user-friendly. She wanted her site to be about her marketing people said to us, when you design this, the whole page, every page has to be like her name and like the press that she's got and the pictures of her. And we're like, okay, well, that's not really the goal here. We're creating a store. Like, no. People care about her. And if they had gone their way, what they asked, I think a lot of people were they sure do that. I think that would have been a mistake because I was sitting there in the room. I had their analytics in front of me, and I was like, listen, I'm going to tell you true fact. On your site, there's a section called About. And 0.001% of people click on the About. It puts a story about that story. And it's a very well-known press designer. And 75% of people click on the word dresses and then buy things that give you money. So I think people are coming to the shop. She looked back and she goes, well, analytics don't tell me the story. I was like, you know what? You're totally right. If it was like 39% of people click on that, 41% of people click on that. So that could be a fair thing. Maybe she doesn't know. But it's 75% to 0.01. It's not even a question. It took her a minute, back then, to come to the realization that you don't think the section would better for her business and for her livelihood if she checked her work. But it was quite, you know what I mean? It was quite of doing that. But without that challenge, and I would say it wasn't just me, it's like me and like 20 people around who were all telling her, don't do this, like go in this direction. But without that challenge, that business would have been a big mistake. The other thing is that this happens a lot with founders, so I don't know if you guys hear that experience, that products can never launch in a perfect way. Like you're never going to be 100% right. We always tell our clients, like, look, if we're 70% right, man, that's awesome. But you can learn and you can evolve. And what might happen is you launch your site and or your app or whatever it might be, and you launch your product, and whatever you thought you were going to do is what happens. You know, it changes. It doesn't even pivot. It just changes a little bit, and your roadmap will change. A lot of people get launch paralysis because they want to get to like the guy at the end there with the blue shoes and the full body without just figuring out what the feature was. A few years ago, we had someone come to us that let's say they had gotten a little bit misguided. And what had happened was they had wanted to start an online book page. I mean, not very original, but okay, fair enough. So we put a lot of resources into creating this online book page. It worked fine. Like, upload money, you could bet your chips or whatever in your hands. And they're like, you know what? The thing about our game is that you can go to Yahoo, or you can go to Golden Palace, whatever. You can do this anywhere else. We make this more interesting and more valuable to our users. We're like, that makes sense. So what happened? And like, well, so we started asking ourselves questions like, what can we do to make this game more real? Like, what else can people do when they like, oh, so like people talk to each other, so banner challenge, how do you get not original? It totally makes sense. So they have this challenge, and they're like, well, we're still kind of at far parity with everyone else. What else do people do when they're playing poker? Like, well, people listen to music. You're like, I guess that's the thing if you're having a work night, you listen to music, and like, so let's let people like share their iTunes library with people who listen to their friends. And maybe like, you can be there and start out and like, ask this guy, this person over here, this, we can all like, collaborate or DJ with each other or play poker. Maybe that's an okay idea, if it's not, I don't know, but at least they're like keeping it from friends. The next question they ask themselves was, well, what else can people do than listen to music? What? You just shift it away. Everyone wants to stop it. It's still like an internal thing. They're still like, they're just like, poker, what else can people do? Listen to music. And then like, while people listen to music, they dance. Okay? I'm not sure where you're going with that. So like, what we should do is have like a room over here where you can play poker, and then a room over here, where your avatar is like a virtual world. Your avatar can dance, you know, and I'm like, I don't know if that makes sense, but okay, they've gotten there before I was doing it. So they have this avatar dance, and what else do people do when they dance? Well, they probably want to, you know, find someone to dance with. Whether you're a guy looking for a girl, or a looking for a guy, a guy looking for a guy, a looking for a girl, whatever, we're going to let you find people to date. They didn't stop there. Then they're like, and they still have not launched. And by the way, this thing is like looking flash, and like it takes 20 minutes to download. And they're like, well, not everyone likes the same kind of music, so we should probably have like a house floor, a custom floor, a rock floor, a pop floor, and then each floor has rooms. You go to the pop floor, you're going to like this here, and there's the assembly over here, and it's like, what? So we're like, what do you want us to do? You guys clearly have this figured out. But just when you like create this like navigation system on top of this thing, that we can get from place to place, and floor to floor, to room, play poker, whatever other video games they had. So we're like, okay, we need the money. And so we get everything done, all the design are done. We're like, great, here you go. You should really launch. You should really just get this out there that people will not use. But you should definitely get this out there and see what happens. And they're like, yeah, actually, right, just one more thing we gotta add to this. We're like, what else could you possibly add to your poker playing, dance club, virtual world thing? Oh, and all the avatars had TV heads that were pulling videos from YouTube, so that helped define who you were. So we're in this meeting, and I'm looking at the guy totally straight to the face, like, what else could you possibly add to this to make this, let's say, better? They looked at me and like, books. Like, you can read books, like, check the book out, like, read it, and talk about it, you know what I mean? And he's like, no. People can write books. You know, like, you write a chapter, you put it in the library, you can check it out, and like, they write a chapter for you, or you can write a whole book, and I'm like, I think we're done. Just pay my invoice, please. And talking to me right now, I'm lunch. But to me, that's like the classic story of like lifestyles is not evolving based on your users, evolving based on your own kind of spinning wheel in your head. You gotta put it out there. Whatever that simple version is, put it out there, get feedback. It's not just about feedback from like the people you're working with, it's feedback from everyone and know you're right, know you're wrong. So, and this is the hard part, I think. Whenever I'm in a room, every day, by the way, I don't know if you guys feel this way from a developer standpoint or designers, but I feel like I walk into my office every morning and setting myself up to get criticized, because whenever I did the day before, whenever I was designing or putting together wireframes, whatever, I'm going to put it in front of someone, and they're going to tell me what's wrong with it. And that's okay, like, that's the job, you know? But it's kind of like the world we live in. But the most challenging part is actually getting good feedback, you know? Like, it's really hard to tell someone what they did right, but it's easy to tell someone what they did wrong, it's hard to tell someone what they did right. And I think that when you're giving feedback, you have to remember that you're all in it together. And this is the hardest thing I think anyone, any team, in any industry has to consider and to actually, you know, wrap their mind. So when I went to college I'm not a tech person, I developed for English and creative writing and theory. And in creative writing classes, they teach you how to get feedback. If I can take every person I've ever worked with and put them in one creative writing class just to understand that, like, it's really important to think through your feedback, and not just to be friendly, not just to be nice. I guess I did move, which like that sucks. But it's important to understand that you want to go through a process and actually be constructive and helpful and actionable when you're giving feedback. But what they teach you in creative writing classes is very simple. You start with what works. Let me guys say. I really got some really bad stories. Like really bad stories. That like didn't really have a point, didn't really have a plot, just kind of looked at someone, put a bunch of nouns and verbs on a page, and we're like, I don't know, I can change the words. And you'd be like, wow, that is a very strong verb you used. But you might want to think of the character development. And but that positivity is really an important way to start, because whether you're looking at UX or design, or you're talking about product, or I'm not somebody who says code, but at least be like, this isn't quite working the way I wanted it to, but you can totally nail the font size, and like this transition is better. Like, that is something that's a little positive is important. It feels like you're reinforcing someone's experience, and then you're working with them and not just talking at them. Like I'm doing it right now, just talking at them. But beyond being positive, it's also important to be actionable. This is the hardest thing to do. Oftentimes, people are like, well, I like that. Or, no, it's good. I totally see that. Or, I don't know. I'm sure what I'm looking at here. I don't know why I don't like this. It's important to think in your head. So here's just a couple of things to keep in mind when you're thinking about giving feedback to anyone. Avoid the phrase, I know what I'm seeing. Because that does not tell anyone at all what they should do. All it just tells them is whatever you're looking at, is you're not responding to it. If you can look at it and be like, okay, in your head, I know what I'm seeing, but I'm looking at this and I don't like the idea that I don't know where the thought is. What is it that the goal of the screen is, this product is? Why can't I achieve that goal? What is the problem? What is the personality? Try to find ways that are a little bit more, less vague than that. Also, I hate that. That's just a non-starter. Because then you've turned someone off. Whoever you're working with, if they're your employee, or they're your employer, if they're your agency, whoever that person is, that freelancer, I hate that just as aggressive. And kind of malicious. Like, there's no reason to get dead. Like, you're there to work together on this. Also, I just don't like blue, or green, or red. No one gives a shit what color you have. There would be a reason to choose a color, and there are plenty of reasons why not to, but it's just such a vague and subjective thing. I think they're the same thing. It's like, oh, well, my wife didn't like it. It's also the same thing as I don't think blue. Like, I understand why the person chose to do whatever they did. It may not be your first choice. That's totally valid, okay? But just to come at it, this is wrong, this is right, this is not what I like. Liking is such a subjective thing. And maybe you're not the audience. For the most part, we're not the audience for the things we're building. That's a really important consideration. If we're making money for ourselves, we make very limited profits. I mean, not like the financial people are talking about, I was the audience for that, but I want to understand that audience. I might be the audience for Hulu. I watch a lot of Hulu on my Apple TV or my Chromecast. I don't watch it on my laptop, which is where I find it originally. I think the worst is feedback you're getting to this. Just go ahead. Or any sort of something. A big sequence that client who came in with the work and she was like, it's dead, but I kind of want it to be dead. My business partner looked at her and he was like, that is single-handedly the worst piece of feedback I've ever gotten. And it was true, like, she wasn't thinking about what we were making. It was just a gut reaction, which is totally within the gut reaction stage. But it wasn't helping us move forward. Just like, I guess we missed it out there? I'm not quite sure. But the best feedback you can give is to offer solutions. You know what I mean? Like, find a way to get it. Sometimes that is the right solution, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I found out, like, let's just go get a drink, we'll talk it through, you'll be surprised at how well that works. But all that being said, this kind of goes back to being staying positive. It's also important that you're honest. Honesty is the foundation, I think, for a really great relationship. And you're not there to be positive for the sake of being positive. You're not there to be like, you did a really great job. You're not talking about about their drawing in school. You're talking about creating a viable business, a viable product. And the only way you can get to that viable product is by being straight with it. I'm happy to. I'm privileged, and I guess that's not the way you want to go. But let me understand why you're thinking that way, so that I can help you find a better solution. Because if I was to be like, no, don't really do that. Like, here's a good example. I hate when I have to think about Hulu. One of the ideas that they want to do is this thing called friend casting. Which is a lovely idea. It's like you and I were friends, we want to watch a show together. At its core, it's lovely. But here's how they want to execute it to people. They're like, what's going to happen is, this is what it's like, you and I want to watch episode 24. I'm going to be like, hey man, let's email you, we're going to watch episode 24 on Hulu at 8 o'clock. Here's a link. You get to Hulu at 8 o'clock. And I was like, okay, that's great. What happens if you're late? And the guy from NYC was like, well, then you missed the first 2 minutes of the show. I think that's the whole purpose of like watching things on demand and why you want to watch things. And by doing that, you're kind of making the internet a worse place. And having that ability to be honest is really important. The other part of that is being contextual. You know what I mean? Like, just giving feedback around what's wrong may not necessarily understand why. What's wrong if you're designing a system for someone who's a boomer, someone in the 50s or 60s, and how you find font size is important. So if you're just like, well, that's not right for that person. You're like, well, why? Well, they can't read the font size that's 10 points fitted or 14. Giving them some understanding of the audience. We think about that because we're not always that person, like I said before. Understanding who you're designing for and why it doesn't work is critical. One thing big corporations have a problem is, and maybe I actually would say some strategy too, is when feedback is kind of given over levels. So it's like, you hear something from your boss, and then you communicate it down, and you think telephone. I think that is not a great way to give feedback. Consolidated feedback is one thing, but having it kind of filtered through layer after layer after layer of preparation is never going to be. Lastly, keep it a conversation. There's no reason to just tell someone that's the way to go, because that person might take that idea, embrace it, do exactly what you asked, but then do 3 or 4 different things. My favorite thing in the world is when I talk to one of my UX designers, and I'm like, hey, here's what I'm thinking, I got on board, and they come back and be like, yeah, I think what you wanted, but then I went like really different directions. And some of those things are brilliant that they come back with. It's such a smart way of thinking, you never know. The same thing would be true for a developer or with a designer or anything like that. But in the end, it's all about working together, having a conversation, being open, being honest, and respect. Thank you very much. That's okay too. Oh, yes. If I can summarize it, it's like by giving positive feedback, kind of you're going through the motions of it in order to get your real feedback and how you balance that. I guess I believe in that if you can truly find something positive, even if it's a tiny thing, like going back to the creative writing classes, like the shit stories that are in college, like they were terrible. Like there were some things you're just like, how am I going to read this? I don't understand what I'm writing about. When you find something, and if there's really nothing, then you try to spin whatever you're saying, it's the negative side, and like if you were looking at a design that was just a common effect of the page, say we're looking at reference. You're like, oh, okay, so you have a lot of information here. Clearly that's a challenge, right, in design. I see that you struggle with this. Maybe there's something that you can try. You know what I mean? You're not really giving them a thumbs up on anything. You're just trying to ease into it without just being like, well, that looks like vomit in the thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's a great question. So the question is, I talked a lot about how to provide good feedback to others, but how to receive feedback from people who don't follow those rules. Man, that's a tough one. I recently actually went through this. I went through work with someone who was, I think, legitimately racist. But this person would gal on the street and ran and couldn't understand what we were trying to achieve together. And I'll tell you 2 stories. One is when I was younger, 22 or 23. I did not do that well. And the way I approached it was I would start like a form something like that. And my client was like 20 years older than me, and she was ready to get set on this particular design that was wrong. What I did, and it was like the biggest account in the company, it was like a $3 million project, and I was like, you're wrong. And she was very aggressive about it. She said, no, I want to do it this way. So what I chose to do was get into a screaming fight with her in a corner of the office where everyone could see me. So that was the wrong way to go. But the right way to go is more sitting there, and it's kind of like doing breathing exercises, a little Tai Chi or something, because what you want to do is listen to the words they're saying, to understand. I know that they're being assholes, they're being loud, they're being boisterous, they're kind of being mean sometimes. But take the high road and listen to what they're saying, and in what they're saying, try to see past it and understand what it is that they're not getting. Now, not able to respond well to that, but getting angry at it and kind of fighting back. I had this like terrible instinct to just want to fight back, and it's just really hard to restrain myself. But being able to do that and manage that I think suffer a little bit is way better than engaging, because then you'll never get solve the problem. If you take a bit of a breath and stop being mean and kind of aggressive, and you're responding in a calm way, that might be more solution-oriented. And listen, hey, I understand you're not happy. You're happy. So you don't like the color, or this isn't working the way you want. I want to understand a little better. Let me ask you what's the important piece of this puzzle, or piece of this page, and let me understand what's specific about what specific it is. Generally, by responding calmly, you're going to set the tone in a place where you're not in control, and can kind of guide that back. Yes? What kind of things are collaboration? So the question is, is there a way that something can about themselves? How can you create a high quality product when you're kind of working a bubble, right? Who you're going to talk to? You know, that's a good question. It's a hard thing when you're kind of sitting in a cafe or you're like a one-person desk. I really believe in asking and reaching out to people. Maybe not even people who you know. If it's an audience that you're not the audience for, reach out to people and just try to see if you can get feedback from them. Reach out to other developers. Most developers I know, I'm not trying to generalize, at least want to talk to people who understand their world, other freelancers. You know, I know that sometimes it's easy to plug in your headphones on at work, but I think in the end, what I love the fact is people genuinely buy each other out. And so even if it's on a message board or at a meetup or just in the people you know, there's nothing wrong with that someone's opinion. I think you're going to do better for it. And maybe if they don't know the answer, they might know something that's like reach. I mean, I am such a fan of expanding the people I know to better at my job that's probably the best way to do it. Don't be afraid of that. It's hard. I'm also shy. Whenever I want to go, I kind of do. But I always look for someone I'm at to give me advice. It's right, yeah, there are a lot of designers who want to collaborate with developers. I guarantee you, posting in the right places or just asking friends or friends of friends, you'll find people who want to do that with you. I'm out of time. All right, thank you guys so much.